Hello guys, welcome back to another video, welcome back to the channel. I know I've been gone for a long time, but things have been getting busy, so yeah, I'm finally back. And before I start this video, I want to make a quick announcement. So if you're expecting About Cars podcast, YouTube videos and About Cars clips, they are now on separate channels. So from now on, these About Cars podcast videos and the clips will not be uploaded to this channel. The reason I did this to keep things more clear on this channel, and if you want to check out the clips and the podcast on the YouTube, I'll put links in the description, where from now on they'll be uploaded there and you can listen on them there. Okay, so let's begin with this video. Okay, so today I'm gonna be doing the iPhone 13 review, and after using this phone for 1 month, I have things to say and answering the question, is this good enough? Do you need the 13 Pro? And honestly, I think it is. So let's now talk about the specs. So the design. When the iPhone 13 first came out, wasn't a fan of the design. Now it is relatively similar to the 12 because of the squared edges, because of the size. The only big changes is the buttons are now lowered to make them easier to access. The notch is smaller, and the cameras are now diagonal for the 13. And you get new colors as well, such as blue, red, midnight pink, and starlight. When the iPhone 13 came out, as I said, I was a fan of these diagonal cameras. I thought they look a bit asymmetrical and not really that good compared to the 12. But after using it, you just don't really mind it. I mean, you're not going to be looking at the back of your phone like this. So I got used to them and don't really mind them. The big change for me though, well, not the big, but the big deal to me is the notch. When seeing the iPhone 13 notch, you just cannot unsee it. You don't want to go back to the previous iPhone models, such as the 10, 10s, 11, 12, because this new notch, as much as it doesn't add any software benefits and not a big deal for some people, it just looks better. And rumors have been going on that the iPhone 14, the next generation of the iPhone, might not have a notch at all. So Apple looks like it's finally getting rid of it. But I still appreciate the fact that Apple made the notch smaller, which looks so much better than the older iPhones. When I unboxed the iPhone 12 Pro, I mentioned that I really like the square edges, and you know what? Yeah, I do. It's an old design because it has been used since the iPhone 4 came out, and lastly has been used since the iPhone SE first generation came out. And then that's it. Apple did not make any phones with square edges until the iPhone 12 came out. And after seeing the iPhone 12, I was like, damn, I like square edges again, and I prefer them much over the rounder edges. Even though it's not a new design feature, it's still nice to see it back again, and I prefer it more over the rounder edges. That's the biggest design highlights. In terms of design, it didn't change much compared to the iPhone 12. Let's now talk about the display. So the iPhone 13 comes in two sizes. You get the mini, which has a 5.84-inch Super Retina XDR display, which is an OLED with 2380 by 1080p pixel resolution at 476 ppi. The iPhone 13 has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR, which is an OLED display with a resolution of 2532 by 1170 pixel resolution at 460 ppi. The display features an HDR display, which means you can watch HDR content and get benefit from that. True Tone, P3 color gamut, haptic touch, 2:1 contrast ratio, 800 nits max brightness, but 1200 in HDR content. And using this display, it's the same as my iPhone 11, except for the size. But my iPhone 11 Pro had the same display as this, and it's nice because when the iPhone 11 came out, it had a normal LCD display, but Apple has put an OLED display on their standard models now. So I appreciate having an OLED display on a non-Pro iPhone. Makes it a bit more modern. And the display is nice. It's bright outdoors so you can see everything, and it's brilliant to watch content on thanks to the deep blacks being an OLED. Let's now talk about the cameras. So at the back we have an ultrawide and wide camera, which are 12 megapixel cameras, and honestly, the cameras are amazing. Now on the 13 Pro you get the additional telephoto camera, but I don't think most people will need it. They'll be happy with the two cameras that the iPhone 14 features. And these cameras, well, simply to put, amazing. Look at the pictures that I took with the iPhone 14. The details, everything, just amazing. Interesting thing about the cameras is there's now a new cinematic mode. When I use the cinematic mode, apparently it adds fake blur to the background. That's interesting. It's a cool feature and a gimmick. Uh, when looking over the footage, you can kind of see it's fake, but it's a cool feature anyway. I used it and yeah, it's cool. Other than that, all I can simply say is the cameras on the iPhone 13 are amazing. Let's now talk about the battery life because this is one of the things I love about the iPhone 14, and I think the most important thing for people is the battery life. You know, you want your phone to last you all day. And rocking the iPhone 13 at max brightness from the morning to the evening, no problem. The battery lasts me easily for like 8 hours, and that's amazing because I had issues with the iPhone 11 Pro battery. This battery is just simply amazing, and I think it should last most people well. Now it depends on the usage. I rock it at max brightness, so obviously that'll eat the most battery, but I have no issues. So if you rock at midway brightness, you should be fine. Let's now talk about the processor that's inside this iPhone. It's an A15 Bionic with 6 cores, 4 efficiency cores and 2 performance cores. And it's noticeable. This iPhone just feels more snappier, more faster than the previous iPhones. I think this is the first iPhone to have 6 cores. All the previous iPhones have 4 cores. So it's a little bit more snappier. And the storage options, by the way, you can get this for this, is 128, it's 256, 512 gigabytes, which I think for most people should be fine. Even the standard 128 gigabytes for most people is definitely going to be fine, especially if they have iCloud. So I've covered all the details of the specs of the iPhone 13. Now I'm going to answer the question. Is this iPhone 13 good enough? Do you need the 13 Pro? And to be honest, the answer is yes. This is a good iPhone, and you don't need the iPhone 14 Pro. Apple has just improved their Pro models so much. I just see no point of the Pro models anymore. Really, the advantage you have on the Pro model is the 120 hertz, which most regular people are not gonna notice. If you're not a tech head, you're not gonna notice the difference. And I'm fine with 60 hertz as well, even though I know what 120 hertz feels like. I use on my iPad Pro. 160 hertz for most people is gonna be fine. And the another big upgrade is the telephoto camera, which I think when I had the 11 Pro, I barely used the telephoto camera. I think these two cameras will serve people well, and they will not need the extra camera. Of course, you have more premium materials on the 13 Pro, but who cares? You're gonna snap on a case, and you're not gonna feel those materials. Unless you go for the Max model, I think the iPhone 13 and the Mini, which if you like small phones, you might prefer the Mini, are the phones for the most people to pick. You know, it's £200 cheaper than the Pro model, and it offers most of the modern specs that the 13 Pro has, and a regular person would be fine with. You know, because when I remember the iPhone 11 came out, that had an LCD display that had bigger bezels than the 11 Pro, and that's the reason when I went with the Pro model, I wanted those nicer features. But Apple just made the non-Pro model so good that I see no point in them anymore, and I think most people should just go with the non-Pro model and they'll be happy. So guys, that's been my review of the iPhone 13. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know in the comments which iPhone is the best pick. And thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you again in the next video.